When an average person stands next to a basketball player, they often feel dwarfed. The typical NBA player stands at an impressive 6 feet 7 inches tall. However, even those towering athletes feel small next to the giants on this list. Here are the top 10 tallest players in NBA history. Boban Marjanovic, 7 feet 4 inches. Boban Marjanovic is one of the most beloved role players in the NBA today. With his height and imposing presence, he could easily be mistaken for a bouncer at a Russian mob club. But Boban's personality is anything but intimidating. He's known as the biggest kid on the court. Whether he's sharing smiles on the bench or effortlessly grabbing balls out of reach for everyone else, Boban's charm has made him a fan favorite. Despite his popularity, Boban spends most of his time on the bench, averaging less than 10 minutes of play per game. This isn't due to a lack of skill. Before entering the NBA, he was regarded as one of Europe's best centers, with multiple regional MVP awards and a selection to the All-EuroLeague first team. His dominance in European basketball was undeniable. However, the NBA's fast-paced, perimeter-oriented style doesn't complement Boban's strengths. In Europe, he thrived by staying near the basket and controlling the paint. In the NBA, he's often forced to chase smaller, quicker players on the court, which limits his effectiveness. If he had played during the slower-paced eras of 20 or 30 years ago, Boban could have been one of the league's top centers. Though his minutes on the court are limited, Boban's impact extends beyond basketball. After all, how many other centers can say they took down Keanu Reeves in John Wick, Chapter 3? Sim Bhullar, 7 feet 5 inches. Sim Bhullar, a Canadian professional basketball player, holds the distinction of being the first player of Indian descent to play in the NBA. As you might expect, his size is astounding, standing at 7 feet 5 inches tall and weighing 360 pounds. After 2 years at New Mexico State, Bhullar declared for the 2014 NBA draft, but went undrafted. However, his heritage played a role in his NBA journey. The Sacramento Kings, owned by Indian businessman Vivek Ranadive, invited Bhullar to join their summer league team, largely for marketing purposes. Eventually, Sim earned a 10-day contract and officially made the Kings roster, becoming a trailblazer for Indian representation in the league. Unfortunately, his NBA career was brief, consisting of just 3 games and 3 minutes of total playtime. Pavel Podkolzin, 7 feet 5 inches. Pavel Podkolzin, like Sim Bhullar, had a short-lived NBA career, but earned a spot on this list due to his remarkable height of 7 feet 5 inches. Despite limited playing time, his brief stint with the Dallas Mavericks cemented his place in basketball history. Podkolzin began his professional career in Russia's second division before making a move to Italy. In 2004, he declared for the NBA draft and was selected as the 21st overall pick by the Utah Jazz. On draft night, he was traded to the Mavericks, where he played 6 games over 2 seasons. In total, Podkolzin spent just 28 minutes on the court and scored 4 points during his NBA career. After leaving the NBA, Podkolzin continued his basketball journey and remains an active professional player in Russia. Chuck Nevitt, 7 feet 5 inches. Standing at 7 feet 5 inches, Chuck Nevitt had a significantly longer NBA career compared to many of his towering counterparts. However, his on-court contributions were limited, with an average playing time similar to players like Sim Bhullar and Pavel Podkolzin. Nevitt spent 9 seasons on NBA rosters but appeared in only 155 games, averaging a mere 5 minutes per game. Shawn Bradley, 7 feet 6 inches. Standing at a towering 7 feet 6 inches, Shawn Bradley was the 3rd tallest player to ever grace the NBA hardwood, instantly becoming a household name. It's impossible to overlook someone of his stature, but Bradley's game also made him stand out. Known as a premier shot blocker, he once recorded an incredible 14 blocks in a single NCAA game, a record that still stands. Bradley's shot-blocking prowess made him a defensive force, but it also turned him into a frequent target for poster dunks. His towering height and somewhat nerdy appearance made him a prime choice for athletic wings looking to add a 7'6" giant to their highlight reels. Drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers, Bradley left his biggest legacy during his 9 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks. Over the course of his career, he averaged 8.1 points, 6.3 rebounds, and an impressive 2.5 blocks per game. Yao Ming, 7 feet 6 inches. Yao Ming is not only the best player on this list, but also the greatest Asian basketball star of all time. As one of the sport's most influential ambassadors, Yao's legacy extends far beyond the court, both literally and figuratively. Born to towering parents, his father stood at 6 feet 7 inches and his mother at 6 feet 3 inches, Yao was destined to be tall. Both parents were former basketball players in China, and under Mao Zedong's socialist regime, their union was strongly encouraged to produce an exceptionally tall child. Even with such expectations, no one could have predicted that Yao would grow to an astonishing 7 feet 6 inches. As a child, Yao was pushed into basketball despite initially showing little interest or skill. However, relentless training combined with his extraordinary height allowed him to dominate the Chinese Basketball Association. His success culminated in becoming the first overall pick in the 2002 NBA Draft, selected by the Houston Rockets. Yao's arrival in the NBA was nothing short of monumental. With his towering presence, immense skill, and the backing of over 1 billion Chinese fans, he became an international sensation overnight. His popularity brought a swarm of media attention, with reporters following his every move. But Yao quickly proved he was much more than just his height. With an impressive array of post moves and a smooth jump shot, he became one of the league's most skilled and dominant centers. When healthy, Yao was nearly unstoppable, averaging 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game over his career. Unfortunately, his massive frame took a toll on his feet and knees, and the physical demands of the NBA eventually forced him into early retirement at the age of 30. In 2016, Yao Ming was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, cementing his status as a basketball legend. He will forever be remembered as the greatest Asian player in history and the only man who could make Shaquille O'Neal look small. Slavko Vraneš, 7 feet 6 inches. Slavko Vraneš, a towering Montenegrin basketball player, enjoyed a professional career that spanned over 2 decades. Standing at an imposing 7 feet 6 inches, it's no surprise that he began his journey in professional basketball at the young age of 17, signing with Turkish club Efes Pilsen. With the rise of Yao Ming, who was drafted the year before, the New York Knicks decided to take a chance on Vraneš, selecting him with the 39th overall pick in the 2003 NBA Draft. However, it quickly became evident that Vraneš was not the next Yao. He never played a single minute for the Knicks, and was waived midway through the season. After clearing waivers, the Portland Trail Blazers signed Vraneš to a 10-day contract, giving him a brief opportunity to step onto an NBA court. He played in one game for a total of 3 minutes but didn't manage to score. While his NBA career was short-lived, his incredible height earns him a spot on this list and a lasting place in basketball trivia. Tacko Fall, 7 feet 6 inches. Another member of the exclusive 7 feet 6 inches club, Tacko Fall entered the NBA in 2019 and quickly became a fan favorite. Born in Dakar, Senegal in 1995, Tacko moved to the United States at the age of 16. His extraordinary height caught attention early on, and if you were a basketball fan during the rise of social media, you probably heard of him years ago. Clips of a high school-age Tacko grabbing the rim without jumping went viral, creating buzz around his potential. Despite skepticism from scouts about his NBA future, Tacko drew significant interest from colleges and eventually chose the University of Central Florida, UCF, where he spent 4 years. During his time at UCF, Tacko's raw basketball abilities improved significantly. He became one of the best defensive players in college basketball, earning the AAC Defensive Player of the Year award in 2017. He also helped UCF secure its first ever victory in the March Madness tournament. When Taco declared for the 2019 NBA draft, he set records at the draft combine for height, wingspan, and standing reach. Despite his impressive measurements, he went undrafted. However, the Boston Celtics saw potential in him and signed him to a 10-day contract, giving him a chance to play in the Summer League. Taco performed well enough to earn a spot on the Celtics roster for the season under a two-way contract. Taco debuted on October 26, 2019, against the Knicks, quickly becoming a Boston fan favorite for his towering height and charm. Manute Bol, 7 feet 7 inches. Standing at 7 feet 7 inches, Manute Bol was the tallest NBA player of his time, a status that cemented his place in pop culture. Born in South Sudan, a country known for its tall population, Bol was exceptionally lanky, weighing just 220 pounds, which often left him physically outmatched by stronger opponents. While Bol's offensive game was limited, averaging only 2.6 points per game, his defensive presence was legendary. He was one of the greatest shot blockers in NBA history with a career average of 3.3 blocks per game, the second highest ever. Remarkably, Bol is the only player with more career blocks than points. Off the court, Bol was celebrated as a kind and generous humanitarian. Despite his unique build and modest stats, he remains an enduring symbol of towering presence and goodwill, remembered fondly as the NBA's gentle giant. Gheorghe Mureșan, 7 feet 7 inches. At 7 feet 7 inches, Gheorghe Mureșan was one of the tallest NBA players ever, sharing the record with Manute Bol. Born in Transylvania, Romania, Mureșan's exceptional height resulted from a pituitary gland condition, despite his parents being of average stature. Initially raw and awkward when he joined the NBA at 22, Mureșan found his stride by his third season. As a starter, he averaged 14.5 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per game, leading the league in field goal percentage and earning the NBA Most Improved Player award in 1996. He continued as a dominant force until injuries, common for players of his size, began to take a toll, sidelining him for most of the 1997-98 season and beyond. After a brief return with the Nets in the 1999-2000 season, Mureșan retired due to persistent foot, knee, and back issues. Off the court, he became a fan favorite for his humor and charisma, even starring alongside Billy Crystal in the movie My Giant. Mureșan remains a beloved figure in Washington, where he still resides with his family.